Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle something you're probably already using, even if you don't realize it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Generative AI.
Yeah.
But we're going to go beyond the hype and really, figure out how to use it responsibly.
Okay. Sounds good.
So our guide for this deep dive.
Yeah, what is it?
This awesome playbook from UC Berkeley, specifically designed for product managers and business leaders.
Oh, interesting.
But honestly, I think anyone can learn something from it.
I bet.
Okay, so first up.
Yeah.
Some pretty amazing stats. Are you ready for this?
Hit me.
Almost 40% of U.S. adults
Whoa, okay.
are already using genAI.
Wow. 40%. That's huge.
Yeah. And that number, skyrockets when you look at, senior leaders.
Really?
Yeah.
So, CEOs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
It's kind of like we're, living through the early days of the internet, but, on fast forward.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? Everything's moving so fast. Which is why I think, this playbook is so timely.
Oh, totally, yeah.
It's packed with all these actionable insights.
Yeah.
Stuff you can apply today.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're tweaking an existing product or, even dreaming up that next big thing.
Totally. Okay, let's dive into the playbook's first big point.
All right, lay it on me.
The sheer scale of this whole genAI explosion.
Yeah.
It really lays out why this isn't just a passing tech fad,
Right.
It's here to stay. Okay, so the playbook, they actually use this example of this woman named Sarah.
Okay.
And she's a product manager at a fintech company. She's constantly juggling deadlines and feature requests, the whole 9 yards.
I feel that.
Right. And so she starts using genAI for everything, drafting user stories, summarizing market trends.
Makes sense. Seems like a good use of the tech.
Right. But that's where things get interesting.
Oh, okay.
The playbook highlights how Sarah quickly runs into these issues with accuracy.
Accuracy? Okay.
Yeah, the market summaries she's getting, they're just off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the AI-generated product names, they're a bit, let's just say, questionable.
Questionable, all right. Yeah, I've definitely seen some of those floating around. Not great.
Yeah, and that's when those alarm bells start ringing. Is she even using this powerful tech responsibly?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, GenAI is evolving so quickly. How do we even keep up, let alone, use it ethically?
Totally. That's a great question. And that's exactly what this playbook tackles head on.
Okay, good.
And you know what? It goes beyond that do the right thing angle, and it actually makes a compelling business case for responsible AI.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about being ethical. It's about being smart.
Exactly. Think about it. Businesses that, build trust with their customers through responsible AI practice. They're the ones who protect their brand and stay ahead of regulations, all that. It's about laying the groundwork for sustainable long-term growth, not just chasing those short-term wins,
Makes sense.
Yeah. And that's huge, especially considering that stat about, how more than half of consumers are uncomfortable with how companies use their data.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was a big one.
Right. Trust is just more valuable than ever.
Absolutely. Especially in today's hyper-competitive world. Responsible AI, it's a key differentiator.
Totally.
It's not just a nice to have anymore.
Right. It's what sets you apart.
Exactly. It builds customer loyalty.
Okay, so how does the playbook break down all these potential risks? It just seems like there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, there is.
Well, the playbook really zeroes in on 8 key areas.
Okay.
And they're pretty eye-opening.
Okay.
So it starts with data privacy.
Yeah.
Which is obviously huge.
Right, of course.
We're talking about everything from unintended data exposure to even potential copyright issues.
Wow. So this is serious stuff.
Yeah, and these aren't just abstract risks.
Right.
They have real-world implications for businesses and, individuals alike.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about Sarah again. She was using all those genAI tools without really understanding what data was even being used to train them.
Oh, yeah.
It was a total black box.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, transparency. That's another big one. Right. How do we make sure we're not just blindly trusting these systems?
Totally.
That's a major challenge, right?
Yeah.
And it's why the playbook really emphasizes understanding, how these AI models are making decisions. Yeah. Without that transparency, it's impossible to build trust or even hold anyone accountable.
Totally. Okay, and then there's the issue of accuracy, or should I say inaccuracy. The playbook gives this crazy example.
Oh, tell me.
Of a chatbot giving someone totally wrong information about airline fares, which led to, like, a legal battle.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yikes is right.
It's a perfect illustration of how inaccuracy isn't just, like, annoying.
Right.
It could have real-world consequences.
Yeah, big time.
Right. And it's no surprise that, global executives, they're increasingly concerned about this.
Yeah.
It erodes trust, it damages reputations, and yeah, it can even have, like, legal repercussions.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about getting the facts right, it's about, like, avoiding those potential disasters.
Precisely. And honestly, we've only just begun to, like, scratch the surface of these risks.
Yeah.
There's so much more to unpack, from, like, safety and security to, like, the future of work itself.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's dive into those next. You ready?
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into the UC Berkeley Playbook for responsible use of generative AI.
We've talked about, like, the risks, the challenges.
And we even, like, dipped our toes into some of those awesome plays for action.
Right.
But there's so much more to uncover.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, are you ready for round 2?
Absolutely. Let's explore another set of these plays that I think will really, like, resonate with our listeners, as they kind of navigate the complexities of, implementing responsible AI within their organizations.
Perfect. Okay, let's start with one for, like, the organizational leaders out there.
Okay.
This one's all about governance.
Okay.
And it's called Build a Comprehensive Responsible AI Governance Framework.
I like it. So it's not enough to just, have an AI ethics policy, like, tucked away in a drawer somewhere.
Not at all. This play is about taking those ethical principles and, like, translating them into actionable steps.
Okay, yeah.
It's about, like, defining roles and responsibilities, setting up internal review boards, and really, like, cultivating that culture where everyone, feels accountable for using AI ethically.
Right.
Right.
Because what's the point of having a policy if no one's actually following it or, like, even knows about it?
Totally. And the playbook actually highlights some great examples of companies doing this well. Like Microsoft, for instance. They have their responsible AI office.
Oh, cool.
Which reports directly to their AI ethics council.
Interesting. So, like, a whole separate department just for AI ethics.
Pretty much. And Salesforce has their Office of Ethical and Humane Use.
Oh, wow. I like that name. Ethical and humane use.
Right. And it's, like, all about embedding those ethical considerations into, like, every single stage of their product development process.
Got it. So it's not just about, like, having these specialized teams. It's about creating a culture, like you said, where everyone feels empowered to kind of speak up about ethical concerns.
Exactly. What good is an ethics policy if, like, no one feels comfortable pointing out when it's being violated?
Right. Totally. This play is all about, creating a culture of, like, shared accountability where, responsibility for ethical AI is, like, distributed throughout the entire organization.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, now let's zoom in on a play for our product managers out there.
All right, product managers, this one's for you.
This one's called Conduct Risk Assessments and Audits for genAI Products.
Love it.
And it sounds incredibly practical.
It is. It's all about due diligence, taking a proactive approach to, identify and mitigate potential risks before they snowball into, like, major problems.
So before you launch a genAI product, you're basically putting it through this, like, rigorous testing process to make sure it's not going to do anything, well, shady.
That's the idea. The playbook recommends, like, involving cross-functional teams, experts, even external auditors to make sure you're getting, like, a thorough and comprehensive evaluation.
Makes sense. Get as many eyes on it as possible.
Exactly. And it even suggests, using different tools and techniques depending on the specific risks you're assessing.
Oh, interesting. Like, what kind of tools?
Well, for example, you might use, like, security assessment tools to check for vulnerabilities, like those prompt injection attacks we talked about earlier.
Right.
Or you might, bring in, like, social scientists to evaluate potential biases within the model.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point.
It's all about, using the right tool for the job and understand that risk assessment. It's a multifaceted process. And it's not a one-time thing either. It's about, like, continuous monitoring and evaluation, throughout the entire life cycle of the product.
So it's not like you just get a passing grade and then you're good to go forever.
Definitely not. AI is constantly evolving, so it's crucial to stay vigilant. Adapt your risk mitigation strategies as needed.
Right, so you got to stay on top of it.
Exactly.
The playbook gives some inspiring examples of companies that are really nailing this. Like Microsoft, for instance, they have this incredibly thorough AI ethics review process for all their products. They even have a special committee called Aether that like provides guidance on responsible AI development and deployment.
Yeah. And Salesforce, they're all about ethics by design.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they bake ethical considerations into every single step of their product development process. You even have like specific guidelines for assessing fairness in their AI tools, which is impressive.
That's really cool.
Yeah, these companies are like setting a new standard for responsible AI. They're showing that it's not just a buzzword, it's a core part of how they do business.
Yeah.
And the playbook, it provides a blueprint that any organization can follow to achieve similar results.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered some like pretty high-level organizational strategies.
Yeah.
As well as like those nitty-gritty details of product development. What's like the key takeaway for our listeners, as they grapple with all this information?
I'd say the key takeaway is this. Responsible AI, it's not just a checkbox to tick off, right? Yeah. It's an ongoing journey of learning, adaptation, and like collaboration. And it's a journey that everyone needs to be a part of.
I love that. It's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about like the people behind it and the choices we make, every step of the way.
Exactly. And the playbook provides a roadmap, right, to help us navigate that journey and like ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a way that benefits, everyone.
Totally. Now, we've covered a ton of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
But we're not quite done yet. We'll be back in just a moment to like wrap up our deep dive into the UC Berkeley playbook with, some final thoughts and insights. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of the UC Berkeley playbook for responsible generative AI. We've covered so much.
Yeah, we have.
From like those 8 key risks to the organizational challenges and those like super actionable plays, for both leaders and product managers.
Right.
But now it's time to like bring it all home. What does this all mean for you, our listener, as you navigate this rapidly evolving world of AI?
That's the big question.
What really struck me, the playbook's emphasis on individual empowerment, like even if your company isn't a tech giant, like a Google or Microsoft, you still have a voice in this.
That's so important, right? It's easy to feel like overwhelmed by the scale of all these technological advancements and just think, that our individual actions don't really matter. But the playbook challenges that.
Totally. It talks about these responsibility micro moments.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the everyday decisions where you can choose to use AI ethically. Even if it's something small like picking a specific genAI tool for a project, you can still make a difference.
Right. It's about asking yourself those key questions from the playbook before you dive in. Like, will this tool amplify biases?
Yeah.
Am I comfortable with how it handles data privacy? It's about, being mindful and intentional in our AI usage.
It's like flexing those ethical muscles, even in those seemingly, insignificant choices.
Exactly. And the playbook, it actually encourages you to like track those micro moments.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Like showcase them in performance reviews, start conversations with colleagues. Imagine it like the ripple effect, right? If we all started making those conscious choices.
It could like shift that entire company culture towards like more responsible AI, like a bottom-up approach to change.
I love that.
That's what's so empowering about this playbook. It reminds us that we're not just like passive consumers of technology. We have agency. We can, shape the future of AI.
We're not just along for the ride.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what's like one key takeaway that really resonated with you? Something you might even like put into practice this week?
For me, it's the importance of moving beyond just like avoiding harm.
Okay, yeah.
Responsible AI, it's also about like creating a positive impact. It's about leveraging this technology to, make the world a better, fairer, more sustainable place.
I love that. And for me, it's that reminder that we all have a role to play. We're not powerless in the face of all these technological shifts. We can all contribute to a future where AI is used ethically, responsibly.
Absolutely. Well said.
So as you continue to explore the world of genAI, remember this. You are not just a user, you're a shaper. You have the power to make a difference. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. And until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.